What's up, y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 79th day of the spring cut. I'm going to be doing shoulders, might put some calves at the end. If I do, it'll be pretty brief and infrequent, not too of an extensive calf workout. I feel like I have reached a pretty good progression as far as shoulders go. Where I do feel like the volume's a little high, I'm going to try to trim that back by doing just a couple supersets at the end, while I'm pretty fatigued already, just to kind of drive it home. Anyways, that being said, I'm going to start with the military shoulder press. I'm just going to do, several feeler sets, warm up / pre-exhaustion sets before I get into those sets to failure. First couple exercises I do, I'm going to be doing not really a black and white set of warm up sets. I'm just total feeler sets until I feel like I'm ready to actually get into it. Once I get those out of the way, then I'm just going to move into those other exercises pretty fast. So I'm going to get right into it here. And I had somebody ask me in the comments, they're like, hey, why do you do stuff standing? And so, why don't you sit down instead of do, standing stuff? So I'll do, standing cable flies, I'll do standing military press. And my whole theory, and the theory of high intensity, is basically one set to failure. You're always wanting to push your failure rate. And so I feel like if I'm sitting, then I can't really get that last few reps out. But if I'm standing, then I can kind of jerk it up if I need to, catch a negative. And I feel like I can go into kind of that red line zone easier with standing reps because I don't have a spotter. So with most of the workouts that I actually implement in here, I do that with the failure set in mind. So that's typically the reason that I do most of the exercises that I do. Plus, I feel like if you can get into a range of motion or almost like a rhythm with your workouts and your exercises, I feel like you can push more out than if you're just kind of in a weird sporadic type of motion. So I like getting into a motion with the burn, and I don't know, I just kind of like working in kind of a rhythm. So, but that's the main thing is the set to failure and being able to actually make sure that I can make sure that last set actually counts. And I am slowing down a lot on a lot of these actual exercises. I'm trying to really feel the stretch at the end and kind of remain in a paused position at the end of the reps on chest and legs and all that, shoulders. And I don't know, I'm just really trying to accentuate that movement a little bit rather than just speed through it. Trying to make all of it count here.
And then sometimes we're going to have 75 hard verses. 75 hard verses is where people who have completed the 75 hard program come on the show, tell their story, talk about how they were before 75 hard, how they use 75 hard to reclaim their life, and how you can do the same. Now, if you're unfamiliar with 75 hard, it is the initial phase of the Live Hard program, which is available for free at episode 208. It is the world's most famous mental transformation program in history, and it's free. You can get it at episode 208 on the audio feed.
And it's kind of weird how just kind of little bitty variations in movements, like with the chest, if you're pulling your shoulder blades back while you're on the bench, then you have your chest more exposed and it's taking more of the weight. Versus if you have your shoulder blades out, then your shoulders are taking most of that movement. So there's just those little bitty variables that you can change up within a workout that actually just give you that much more focus on that muscle that you're looking to work. So it's I'm trying to really get those nuances down and kind of, let's say, master the movement. I feel like you're doing that and you're not necessarily resting at the end or resting at the bottom, but you're kind of in just that tension zone the whole time. Then you're basically, you just got a lot of time under tension rather than little broke up rest periods within that movement. So just learning to get the most out of the exercises that you're doing. I feel like it's kind of the stage I'm at right now. Want to, honestly just keep your mind in the muscle, which I hate that phrase, mind-muscle connection. I think it's really overused, but really just stay within the workout and just try to crank out more of a quality type of workout rather than quantity.
From the freshest Pecks in Flint, Michigan. Yes, you guys can get some quiz on it. We're all about causes here, right? And we choose to support things that matter. And, Flint, Michigan has had its problems with water before. We know this. So we decided to, partner with Pesante Aqua Pesante to bring back the reputation of Flint, Michigan's tap water. I think it's a great cause. Yeah, I'm very proud of you for being sponsored by Aqua Pesante. Here you go. Aqua Pesante available.
One of the things that I made a short video on the other day was, I think I'm going to start trying to maybe debunk a lot of the bro science myths and just kind of walking them through like logically, not necessarily throwing a lot of science in there, which I just feel like a lot of them can just be done debunked and through logic. And you ain't even got to get into the science aspect because they don't really even make sense to begin with. But I feel like, especially earlier in my gym career or whatever, like I really was implementing a lot of this stuff that was floating around the gym, and it really didn't make a ton of sense. I would think like, man, that doesn't really sound right, but I'm going to implement it anyway since everybody else is doing it too, so I guess I will too. And so there's a lot of stuff floating around that is just like total horseshit. So I think I'm going to start trying to debunk a bunch of that stuff. So a calorie is a calorie. They say all calories are created equal kind of thing. Like I don't agree with it. Get this out of the way and then I'll go into it.
Stuff just flows off the pipe. They flow out the pipes of Flint, Michigan. Yeah, that's good. All right.
Guys, Andy, question number one. Andy and DJ, man, I need some help with the situation. My company was recently acquired by a family-owned and operated company. In 8 short months, our new CEO has placed his 2 sons in high-level leadership roles.
Get to near failure range on that one. Okay, so basically, I'm here to say that I think a calorie is a calorie is bullshit. Now you can get into the whole thing, like if I'm going to lose weight, then I need to keep my body under a certain amount of calories, which would be my maintenance range of calories. So if I fill up on, you don't even have to say, I've got a lot of fats in there, that's going to make me fat, or I need to be on a low carbohydrate diet. Like I wouldn't worry about that when you're just trying to lose weight. Doesn't matter what the calories consist of macro-wise, as long as you're under your maintenance range of calories, you're going to lose weight, okay? So you can have sugar in there, you can have protein in there, whatever. There's obviously a macro balance for a good cutting, and maintaining muscle mass. So, as you get a little bit more advanced, then you're going to learn those macros and what needs to be there during cutting phase, what needs to be there during bulking phase. But that being said, not all calories are created equal, because if you think about it, and I've heard the argument like, especially in like you could say like maybe like a dirty bulk, people are going to be eating Snickers, you see a lot of people eating the Krispy Kreme, drinking the milk. We all know who that is. Not talking shit, I'm just saying like, I don't think that is going to amount to the same type of progress, because most of that stuff is just empty bullshit calories, whereas if you had actual nutrient dense food with amino acids and the right vitamins and mineral mix and all that stuff, like you can't tell me that's the same with your body. And so I think really what it's about is I'm actually after maximizing my potential. And if I'm actually trying to maximize my potential, then there's certain time windows, there's certain nutrients I need to be eating at certain times, and why would I eat a Snickers bar with pretty much no nutritional benefit from it whenever I could actually be like broccoli or spinach, whatever it is. Like I'm just saying, something that's nutrients dense. So I don't believe that a calorie is a calorie. I think there's good calories and I think there's bad calories. And I mean, honestly, if you get right down to it, you're probably going to see strength gains too if you're using more stuff with more amino acids and all that shit versus just dirty bulking bullshit. And it's just, I think it's one of those things that is a myth floating around out there, but if you think about it logically, I don't think it really makes sense. Alright, we're going to pound out a set failure here and get moving on to our other workouts or exercises.
are you going to say, well, it's not fair. It's my job to be undeniably great at what I do, because if I'm undeniably great at what I do, then it doesn't really matter if they recognize me here, because they'll recognize me in other places if that's what I need to do as well. And so many people spend so much time worried about what other people are doing that they never become great at what they do, and so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the nepotism and the brother or the son or whoever's ahead of you stays ahead of you because you're so worried about what that person's doing and not worried at all about developing your own skill set. And this is what holds so many people back. So I would have a come to Jesus myself and say this, well, it's not fucking fair. So how do I make it as possible for me?
Last one wasn't happening. Do a couple more warm-up sets on this. I'm gonna do a seated military cable press. You're gonna kind of go into this warm-up set pretty fast.
Or that man's sons, they are going to be more valuable to him than you are. That's reality, dude. They don't know you. Yeah. Yes. Like, dude, what do you? I can understand you could be a little upset about that. I can understand that it irritates you. But at the end of the day, it's reality, dude. And you have to come to terms with it. And whatever hardships or whatever frustrations or walls or boundaries that come in front of you, it's your job to fucking run through those. Okay? And that's not going to happen.
Just kind of pyramid up and weigh a little bit. One thing you can get into with all this stuff here is what kind of weight am I messing with? And really, your body only knows if it's getting a fully contracted position and a good stretch position, right? It doesn't know the weight that you're using. So if you can slow down and just really get the most out of that range of motion with good time under tension without rest, it's going to be better than if you're just trying to throw around a lot of weight. So I do feel like there's something to that. But if you're not actually feeling it in the muscle you're trying to work, then you're probably working it somewhere else. If I'm on bench press and I'm feeling it heavily in my shoulders and my triceps, it's probably what I'm working. So just learning to slow down and accentuate that movement on the body part you're looking to work. You might have to drop weight and lose the ego to really do it at first, but if you get down your reps and get quality, you got your diet and nutrition is there, then the weight and the strength will come after the form. So just think it's something important to keep in mind.
Is getting all this credit. He said, fuck, I'm gonna fucking put the work in. I'm gonna become great. I'm gonna worry about myself. I'm gonna take more reps. I'm gonna spend more time in film. I'm gonna spend more time in the weight room. I'm going to get better. And you know what happened? He becomes the greatest of all time. Because he's not looking over here. And he's not looking over there. He's looking right in front of him for what he can control to improve his situation.
Yeah, push this one as hard as we can. Reps might just get a little bit sloppy there at the end, the last few, but just to kind of go past that failure, then I'm going to make that little sacrifice there.
I had experience before. Sal was the number one salesman. Sal was the number one salesman at his previous place of employment, which was a global company, for 2 years in a row. Number one in the world. Sal's extremely smart. He's an extremely good operator. He's extremely good with people and with sales, and he's qualified. There was nobody more qualified to do that job. Nobody. He just happened to be my brother. So let's sort of make sure that, look, it's the same advice I give people when they do business partners. A lot of people want to do business with their friends because they think it's going to be fun to do business with their friends. But they stop to ask themselves, is there a benefit to me doing that? So
Good move over. That was the front delt movements that I'm going to do. I'm going to move over here to side delts. Do some lat raises here.
So, I mean, dude,
Haven't used these in a minute. I got cobwebs on them. 15s.
For questions like this, because I think it's big shit. You need to worry about yourself. You need to worry about getting better for yourself. You need to not worry about what so-and-so has or what offer they got. Everything evens out in the end. Everything evens out. Easy come, easy go. If you really had to work and build those skills, and those younger guys don't have the skills, it's going to become apparent. Okay? So just wait. The truth always comes out. The truth always materializes.
And
people's real skill set and the real value.
no, correct something I said yesterday. Kind of said it, and then afterwards I was kind of like, huh, is that right or not? And I was talking about my cutting phase that I'm in right now. And I've definitely got fat still around thighs, on the ass, the back, and like I do see bicep veins though. But I basically said that I feel like I'm at about probably 10% body fat. But after I got to thinking about it, probably more in between like the, I don't know, maybe like 13. I think 15 is definitely high, but at about, 12 and 13, you do start to see bicep veins. And then once you get down to probably about 8%, then you can pretty much see visible veins on a lot of your main body parts. I don't know about through your abs and all that stuff and over your pec and all that shit, but if you probably get down to about 8, below 8, that's when you start really seeing all those little veins everywhere probably. Looked at some pictures last night, kind of cross-reference my body type with it just to kind of see and get more of an accurate measure on where I was at.
That say they're an entrepreneur and post all these lies about how much money they're making, how many followers they have, how they're buying engagement, they're creating a facade that people believe, and they're trying to present the best possible story. Guys, this is bullshit. Okay, real entrepreneurship is the most competitive game that a human being can play. All right, it's more competitive than baseball. It's more competitive than football. It is more competitive than soccer. It's more competitive than anything.
And one way that I'm kind of judging how much more fat I've got to lose is they say that a pound of muscle is about the size of a tangerine, and then a pound of fat is like the size of a grapefruit. So I'm kind of checking out my body. I'm like, yeah, there's probably grapefruit there. Maybe fucking weird, but I don't know, for some reason, kind of just gives me maybe what I feel like is kind of a close estimate to how much weight that I've actually got to lose still. I heard, pretty reputable source, the guy came in second in Mr. Olympia in the 70s, Mike Mincer, but he said if you can grab more than an inch of fat on your back, right above your, like to the side of your spine and above your hip, if you can grab more than 1 inch, then you probably got at least 10 weeks of dieting to go still. I don't think I got 10 weeks, but I probably got 2 months at about a 750 calorie deficit. So I don't even know what that adds up to mathematically. But I've got technically probably about another 50,000 calories of fat to burn through till I'm just completely peeled. Push this one to failure here.
To become a success in the game of entrepreneurship. They believe that entrepreneurship is about freedom. They believe entrepreneurship is about being your own boss. They believe entrepreneurship is about owning some cool cars and traveling the world from anywhere, just like all these people can tell you. And it's not. Okay? It's not freedom. And you're not your own boss. Guess who's the boss? The customer is the boss. Okay? Guess how long it took me to buy a nice car? It took me 11 years. All right? And by the way, I've got a more real business than any of these guys.
Move over here just to some regular lat raises for side delt cables. Kind of drive home the work that we just did with, the side raises with dumbbells.
That you're looking to create to be competitive with this. And then after you develop the skills, you have to understand that there's other people out there with the skills already who have had the skills for 20 years that use the skills that you. So it never gets easier. In the beginning, you're developing the skills and it feels super hard. But then when you actually get to the game, you're competing with someone who had the skills for 20 years and you just learned them. So now you got to try hard again. Like there's never a place where this gets easy. There's never a place where there's never a place where you get to like take your foot off the gas and just live your life. That's not what you signed up for. And all this shit you read on the internet, all this shit about balance, all this shit about happiness, that is written for other people. That is not written for high-level performers in the game of entrepreneurship. Okay? A lot of you guys, I'm just being fucking real with you. A lot of you guys need to forget the idea of even being an entrepreneur because you're not fucking doing it. You're just not. I could get on here and I could say, everybody can do this.
Alright.
I'm not gonna lie to you, because I want you
End up with 7 exercises for shoulder today. Still got 3 more to do. 2 of those are gonna be kind of a rear delt and trap movement. Then the last movement that I'll do is just gonna be an all around, just drive everything home. What I just did. Yeah, it was 7 workouts. Might end up having enough time to do calves. Probably want to keep this under 45 or 50 minutes. We're at the 30-minute mark right now. Doing the superset at the end, drop that time down just a little bit. I'm gonna do just bent over, kind of rows, and a reverse fly, basically just for that rear delt there. Do one warm-up set and then do our heavy set.
If you're not obsessed on becoming the best possible version of yourself and building the best possible operation that you can possibly build, you're gonna get beat. And that's just reality, dude. Did you know that reality when you first started? Or was there like a moment? No. That's why the first 10 years, bro, I coasted through and got my ass kicked in. I thought it took way less than what it actually took. And when I finally got sick of it, I finally realized that I wanted to do it.
And obviously I'm not trying to burn out on that first warm-up set that I'm doing, but I am trying to add a little bit of a pre-exhaustion factor to it, just to kind of drive home that heavy set, make sure that I'm all, you know, intermuscularly connected and that I got that pump going, and I can just add that much more to it whenever I get on that heavy set to failure. And the last workout I'm gonna do is a super good just finishing movement. Just getting all around good burn out of your shoulders. You know, just kind of smack the nail on the head, drive it in, and give it one more good smack for good measures. Kind of type of movement. I'm working about every 6 days. I'm on the body part, so my rotation is every 6 days. So that technically is getting me to where I'm exercising one body part twice a week, but with about 5 days in between. Yeah, 5. So I'm working on the 6th today. Drive this shit home.
And become great. And it's going to take you years to do. You don't like hearing that shit. You'd rather go listen to some idiot who tells you, oh, well, all you got to do is do this and this and this. And dude, you make money for 6 months and then you're out of business. And your reputation's ruined, your name's ruined, your brand's ruined, and nobody wants to be sure of you. So, you know, yeah, you have to be obsessed. And now you're a little obsessed. It has to be the focus of your entire life. That's the reality. And for entrepreneurs that want to make a lot of money, the answer is the same. If you think that you're going to have success and you're going to...
This movement here that I'm about to do is basically a bent over row kinda. But I'm gonna keep my back up a little bit higher so I can start hitting the rear delt and the trap. Starting to get the traps kind of activated. So in the movements that I pick, I'm always going in a flow. Front, side, rear. And kind of on this last rear movement, I'm starting to pick an exercise where I'm starting to activate the traps, because that's going to be one of the next muscles that I'm wanting to work and get burning before I get into this last workout. So once I've kind of introduced the burn on all of them, then I think it's just that much easier to get focused on the last workout I'm going to be doing. Kind of creating a weak link in that chain, to where once you pre-exhausted it, all the weight goes that weak link in the chain. It's just that much more weight bearing down on all that shit you just got pre-exhausted. So it's kind of the method I like to subscribe to. Do one more upset here, see where we're at with the weight.
You know, if you're in a sterile environment and don't put anything bad in your body, your immune system goes away. So that's why I chose to work with these guys.
Because I'll tell you, listen, I mean, there is nothing on this planet that tastes good.
I drank Royale AF.
I'm really not getting any arm workouts on tape for you guys. I'm usually working those on, and I'm actually doing them twice a week. I'm doing them on chest day. I do a second workout where I do arms on my work break, and then on shoulder day, which is today, I'll do an arm day too. So I'm doing them twice a week with about 3 to 4 days in between. 4 days in between. With that being said, if I was to stagger it one more day, that would just mess up my rotation, and I wouldn't be getting in all my exercises and my rotation twice a week. And that would be at 7 days if I threw an arm day in there too. So I think it's best just to have a PM workout and be able to keep that rotation to where I'm working a body part twice a week. So eventually I'll get some on camera for you guys, but at this point I just got some other stuff I'm wanting to focus on.
On the internet, right? All these stories of these people who, you know, make a few dollars, like, dude, the fake it till you make it culture, right? I'm gonna buy a nice car, I'm gonna stand in front of it, then I'm gonna tell you how much money I made, and then I'm gonna sell you this program and tell you how much money I made, but in reality I made the money selling you the program telling you how much money I made. That's the entrepreneurship culture in a nutshell, and that's the reason that people can't understand how hard it actually is to build something that has an equitable back end exit. Which is what the fuck you want. You're not in this for just cash flow, dude. You're in this for an equitable return on your time investment. So you're gonna get paid during the time you do it, and then when you're ready to be done, you have a big, huge asset that you can sell.
All right, give it just a couple seconds.
And then
we go into this. This is technically what would be a superset here. Remember to put that hat back on with a microphone.
So like, bro, here's the bottom line.
And this is that finishing movement I'm talking about.
Great. If you're not great, you don't win. So whatever it takes for you to be great, whether you call that obsession or dedication or discipline, doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that you go from where the fuck you are to where you need to be to win. And that is it. So call it whatever you want, but it's hard as fuck and it takes everything you got.
Guys, Andy, question number 3. Hi, Andy and DJ. My question is simple. Do people really change? I'm 35 years old, and I've spent a big chunk of my life being selfish and just all around not being a good person. I'm an addict, an alcoholic. I've been sober for 3 months, and I'm trying to be better. Doing 75 hard, I got a good job recently. I want to be a better person, but you hear all the time that people don't really change. So I guess I'm worried that I'll end up going back to being the person because that's the person I've always been. Thanks again for all you guys do. And people really change.
Yeah. But you gotta really want to change. No, at 36 years old, I was 350 fucking pounds. I did 4 nights a week.
And what I consider a good finishing movement kind of just drives home everything you were just doing. And if you find a way to not like rest while you're locked out, you're rotating it to where you're locked out, but actually keeping it higher while you're doing that, it just puts that much more strain on the shoulders. I'll tell you what, that's actually got my traps burning because I just pre-exhausted them over here. Kind of just gets that whole entire upper shelf really. Hell, I even feel that in my lats. Okay, I'm gonna switch the camera angle. I'm gonna drive home just a few sets to failure on calves. Nothing too extensive though.
Thousands of other people from this habitual relapsing, and that's why it's so funny when people are like, "Oh, it's not sustainable." Oh, really? It's not? I'm pretty sure it's the only fucking program that ever changed anybody because it addresses the issue at the core, which is your mental fortitude, your ability to adhere, your ability to make decisions for yourself in the moment that are going to benefit the long-term version of you, not the instant gratification that you would get from indulging in whatever the vice is now. And when you start to understand this mentally, and you start to live that way, those things that have brought you the frustration, the anger, the life that you're not proud of, become the fucking enemy. You hate them. You despise them. Like when I see people socially drinking all the time, I think they're the weakest fucking bitches on the face of the earth. And then I look at them and they're usually fucking out of shape. And they're not making any money. They're celebrating every shitty car. You have a shitty fucking relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a perspective switch.
I'm gonna do one warm-up set and then drive home a set to failure. Keep the volume low.
And when you think about, you know, you mentioned just a minute ago, fake it till you make it. When we think about like what fake it till you make it actually means, it doesn't mean go out and buy a car and stand in front of it and, you know, fake your wealth to get money. That's not what fake it till you make it means. Fake it till you make it actually means make the decisions that that person that you know you want to be like would make, even when you're you now, and eventually you become that person. Okay, that's what fake it till you make it. So decide who you want to be, start making the decisions that person would make, And eventually you legitimately become that in your life. And it won't feel like that today, and it won't feel like that tomorrow. And because you live your life the way that you've lived it for 35 years, and you're not proud of it, it's probably gonna take a minute for you to adjust to being the kind of person you wanna be. But if you keep following with those actions over and over and over and over and over again of the person that you wanna be, like eventually you become that person, and it's reality. And like, dude, that's what it is. It's that simple, dude. So yeah, you can change, bro, and you should change because you have people depending on you. Whether you have a family, whether you have, friends, or whether you have peers at work. There's people looking.
Just drive one set home to failure on this, and then be done with it.
Your obligation to God, you're dishonoring your obligation to your fellow citizen, your neighbor, your family, and especially yourself by sitting there and saying, I'm going to accept this version of myself that's less than what I could be. And I think everybody falls into that trap because we are all propagated immensely in society that is okay. You see it on TV. What do men look like on TV? They look like fat, middle-aged, looking dudes that stand in the backyard with rubber coat.
And well, I'll kind of get into it. You might say, one set to failure. I mean, how could that even do it? But the thing is, like, dude, I don't even necessarily like doing one set to failure. Like, I like the burn. I like the pump. I like doing multiple sets. But the thing is, if you come in here and your objective is, I want to actually produce muscle growth, I want to bodybuild, then it doesn't matter if you've got to do 20 sets or if you've got to do one set. You should be willing to do whatever it takes to stimulate the growth that you're after. So if it's one set, boom, that's it. And here's the thing, if you have an arbitrary number of sets that you're supposed to go in and perform, let's say 15 sets. You need to do 15 sets for, 5 different exercises in your workout for chest. Okay, so you start with 15. Well, what if you're not seeing progress? Do you do more sets? Do you go up to 16 sets? Or do you go down to 14? So the thing is, logically, if you start up in that range, then you don't even know whether you're doing enough to stimulate growth or you're doing too much. So really, Mike Minster's talking about how basically the best number to start with is 1. Because if you can't see growth from 1, then you might need to bump up to 2, but surely going to 0 ain't gonna do it. So it really is actually the most effective place to start. Even if you don't think it is, logically it is. And so the thing is, the one set to failure, well, you've got to realize your body only has enough resources to produce to a certain amount of stress. So, really, it's about finding the fine line in between how many sets can I do and still recover and see muscle growth. So you really do need to find where the best range is, where you can actually still produce muscle growth, see strength gains in between me working out today and the next time that I work out. So really, doing one set is the most logical place to start. You will get to a tipping point to where you're like, okay, whenever I do 2 or 3 sets, I can still see strength gains and muscle increases. But whenever I go up to 4 sets, boom, I start to come back in and I'm only about 80% recovered. So you can actually find out where that your systemic resources and the amount of reps and sets you're doing actually draws off, because there is a point where your body does hit a fine line and tips over it, But anyways, this was the shoulder and calf workout for day 79 of the spring cut. I really appreciate you guys who are following along with me, engaging with me in the comments. If you like the way that I take you through the workouts and the way I break them all down, please share, like, and subscribe. If you don't like it, that's all good too. We'll part as friends. That being said, I have left my email in the description in the About section of my YouTube page. I'm going to start extending some of my knowledge to you guys. So if you guys are needing any help with your fitness, getting a six-pack, building muscle, if you want any type of training routines or something and just somebody to maybe help you go through it, I'm here for you. Just, email me in that email that I got there. And that was day 79, shoulders and calves. I will see you guys, if not tomorrow, then the next day. All right, peace.